The 10 miler is, if we go into battle, parachute into battle, you've got to be a certain distance away without compromising yourself. And then when they hit the ground, it is fast and furious, close with the enemy, clear an airfield, for example, and then that allows then the rest of the forces to come in.
You served in every one of the 3 battalions, and then you finished up in 3 Paras?
Yeah, that's correct, yeah. I finished there as the OC of HQ Company. 35 years in the Parachute Regiment.
Could you tell us a bit about the Support Our Paras charity?
We support the Parachute Regiment, Airborne Forces, retired Airborne Forces, veterans and the families.
Do you remember what you personally thought was the toughest event on your advice for keeping fit and preparing for events like this? Yeah, it definitely feels tougher than last year.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so like I said, this hasn't been reckoned. This is looking favourable.
Hey guys, Ferdy here. A very exciting day today because I am doing a recce of the Paras10 Roman Rampage route in Colchester, and I'm joined by Mark Ewen. Hey,
Hi,
Mark.
good morning, Ferdy. How are you?
I'm very good, thanks.
Good.
How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Thank you for inviting me here. Mark, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name's Mark. I served 35 years in the Parachute Regiment. I did all 3 battalions. I left in 2024, joined the charity, Support Our Paras as the Events and Efficiency Manager. Part of my role is organising and running the Paras10.
Fantastic. So we are now, and I remember it a bit from last year, we're at the start, aren't we?
Yeah, we're at the start point here. Yeah, just over your right-hand shoulder there is the parking, and this is where you come through to the reception, just in this sort of area here.
Yeah.
This is going to be the sort of main arena with the vendors, the tents, and then the finish line is roughly about 20 metres just further up the road.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
So then the start is down here. What I remember, the start is actually great to get some pace on. I'm going to try and get sub 2 hours. Last year I had 2:10. But from memory, this bit is one of the faster bits, I think, right?
It is, yeah. But that's where you've got to be careful.
Right.
It can be a bit deceptive going at the start, because if it is wet, I mean, luckily at the moment it appears to be a bit drier, but we'll see as we go around. I ran this route 4 or 5 times, and it took me that long to actually understand it. You can't just go out at park run pace if it's wet, because as you get further into the course, it gets boggy, wet, and you tend to blow the legs out before you blow the heart and lungs out.
Ah, yeah, so your point is, so the bits where it is dry, you really need to get the pace up, right?
Well, you do, but also you need to use it potentially as recovery.
Ah, fair point, fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And the thing is, and Mark was warning me a bit about the people setting the timings of it, because if it's wet, it's going to be tough. The thing is, I always set myself a target. I need to be a bit scared. I need to know that there's a really good chance I'm not going to hit it unless I give it my all. And I think that's what's good about that is, in the run-up to an event, it's what gets me out the door and keeps me training. But you need to be a bit scared. Yeah.
And I think the first lap will be a judge of your pace and timings.
Yeah.
And yourself. Lap 1 in, how you feel, where the course, you know how hard you can push and when to push, and you know where to rest, and you know where to make the time up. So this is just hitting obviously the Roman road, nice and straight. Good chance here of building up the pace, and with the head down then towards the Pendulum.
And of course, Friday was, is there a bit of Roman history?
Yeah, so obviously the Romans were in Colchester thousands and thousands of years ago. Obviously this was a key part to Colchester. You've got the Roman River that runs through the bottom of it. So it's got a bit of heritage. It is an ancient wood. It has been around since then, which actually has a little bit of an impact on us at the moment. Because a lot of trees are dying back, so I have to have a tree survey go around and checks all the trees are good, or if not, it needs to cut them back. Just to make the course nice and safe.
So you referred to it earlier, you actually throughout your career served in every one of the 3 battalions, and then you finished up in 3 Paras, is that right?
Yeah, that's correct, yeah. I finished there as the OC of HQ Company. Yeah, this job was available that I'm doing now, so I spoke with the CEO, went for an interview, and the reason I went for that is, like I say, 35 years in the Parachute Regiment, I thought it'd be a good transition. I know exactly what the soldiers need and what's required. I went for the job, and fortunately I was offered the job, and it's now obviously my chance to give a little bit back to the regiment.
Fantastic, and that's obviously the job, as you said, for Support Our Paras. Now, I know many of our viewers have either been past participants or they will have some prior knowledge already, but for those who may not know, could you tell us a bit about the Support Our Paras charity?
Yes, Support Paras is solely there to support the Parachute Regiment, Airborne Forces, retired Airborne Forces, veterans and families. And we support them in many ways. Families, veterans, retired Airborne Forces. Obviously, if times are hard, we help them out. Obviously, bereavement, we can support them with that. But a key thing as well, we support the serving soldiers. And we're currently supporting people who are hoping to make a bid for the 2030 GB bobsleigh team.
All right.
Yeah, so they've been in the bobsleigh scene for a few years, quite high up there, so we're supporting them up until the next Winter Olympics. Also got people skiing for GB. Yeah, so it's various things, just to, obviously, soldiers work hard and it's sometimes rewarding, but they also pay back to us as well. So when we support them with events, they try fundraise for us. And obviously every little helps, whatever they manage to raise for us.
Fantastic. And if you're watching, so there'll be a link in the description of the Support Our Paras charity with the various ways you can support them. But a great way to support them is sign up, right? Because I believe there are still, if depending on when you're watching this, you can still sign up for the event in March for the Roman Rampage, and then of course later in the year there is another edition in Catterick, is that right?
That's Catterick, yeah. We're just coming to the Pendulum now.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if people remember it from last year. It's obviously a down and an up, and the reason they call it the Pendulum,
right?
I've stood on one side of this hill many times and run from one end to the other on numerous occasions, obviously back and forth, obviously, hence the Pendulum.
Yeah, this is a great bit. I remember this because it's a nice bit of downhill, but then it goes down. It must go back up. Yeah. And how do the Paras10 events support the Support Our Paras charity?
So the Paras10 is a non-profit. Everything we make goes straight back into the charity. So the more people that enter, again, it's straight back to the charity, and then it obviously there to fund all the things we've discussed earlier.
Fantastic. Oh, man.
Yeah, so we're coming up here to the junction to where we start the what we call the hollow square. But I don't know if I told you earlier that this year we're doing a kids race.
Oh yeah.
So the kids will be on the same route up until this point, and then they split here, where the adults will go left, the kids will then go right. Yeah, so they'll just split at this point.
Fantastic.
And that'll be before the actual main event. So the parents, if they're bringing the kids, parents will be able to watch the kids.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. What was the thinking about creating this second event? Because I know the first one here, I did one in Colchester, I think 3 or 4 years ago, and it was actually a 10 mile course.
So I actually organised that when I was serving in 2021. And what I found was, when we'd done that, it required a lot of input and a lot of marshals from soldiers. Because it's quite difficult terrain, and it is 10 miles without doing loops, the amount of marshals that required for that was like tremendous. It was 140 marshals.
Wow.
And when I took over the job, the CEO asked me to come up with a new event. How can we regenerate it? And I came up with the idea of what's less draining on the battalions, what can I manage 99% myself? So I came up with one sort of circa 3.3 mile loop, which again you can do once, twice or 3 times, run it or tab it, but it massively reduced the resources that was required, because it was round, and then the water point is at the start and finish, so they can just grab a drink there. We don't have to have water stations out, which we don't need to man, etc. And obviously it was to bring the community in as well. So anybody of any sort of fitness level can come and do the route, can come and do the course. It doesn't matter what standards you're at. Because the good thing about it as well, I was chatting to a friend of mine, going, there'll be people on this course permanently for 2 hours. So if you are a really slow one looper, and then somebody on 2-3 loops passes, you are not just going to come. You're not just going to be out there on your own. It will be a busy course throughout. So yeah, that's my sort of logic behind it, mainly to reduce the burden on the army, and obviously just to make it more inclusive for other people and achievable.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely great. You can push yourself as hard as you like for those who want to, people who are just taking their first sort of attempt at an event like this can do 1 or indeed 2 laps, just get a taste for it, and then if you feel like it, try and upgrade the year after.
Yeah,
always
100%.
better yourself. Yeah, no, fantastic. And it is still marshalled by serving soldiers, because they definitely added some to the atmosphere.
Yeah, so this year it's going to be marshalled by 7 soldiers. I say 7 soldiers, they are 7 soldiers, but they're purely volunteers this year.
Oh, wow.
So I've not lent on to the MOD at all, sorry, the Parachute Regiment this year. I've just asked them for volunteers, so everything that will be done this year will be done by the charity.
That's fantastic.
And it'll be all volunteers out there.
So that's great to know. Whenever you see those marshals, don't hesitate to thank them, because they are giving up their time and effort. Yeah, excellent. So this part of the route is called the Hollow Square. Why is that, Mark?
So obviously the Hollow Square is 3 sides of a square. I head straight down here, along, all the way around, and then obviously the big gap in the middle.
Yeah,
the reason for that is that's what the soldiers set up before deploying on exercise operations. A hollow square in their sections, covering 3 sides, platoon sergeant, platoon commander in the middle, inspecting all their equipment just before they deploy. Hence the hollow square.
Got it.
Yeah, no. So when they're in barracks, before they deploy, each company platoon will get themselves out in their 3 platoons or 3 sections in a hollow square. Platoon commander or NCOs will, it's where they inspect the equipment, make sure they've got the right equipment. It just obviously gives them that.
You don't want to be forgetting something.
It doesn't matter how long you've been in the army, you used to still walk around going, I've got this, I've got that, I've got this, I've got that. You're just checking your kit list all the time. But it becomes natural.
Yeah.
Within 2 weeks, how dry this has gone straight away. I came down here 2 weeks ago and I was up to my knees in mud. And I don't know if you remember last year, all this was overgrown.
Right.
So all this is now being cut back, which is quite good, because it'll give the runners, the tabbers, you'll be able to see more down the route, you'll be able to see other runners.
Yeah.
I've run around this several times. I've done it when it's been like this, I've done it when it's been wet. I did it when it was covered in ice. But I think what I'm really after is a bit of rain.
Yes.
And then a day like this for the day.
Yeah, that'd be ideal. So I could see some vehicle movement.
Yep. Again, this is where a bit of driver training down here. This is quite good. But this is obviously something they need to get careful of. This is what they'll be briefed in the race brief.
Oh, this is fantastic. Definitely slippery.
Yeah. Just watch out for the ruts. Like I say, it's not too bad when it's like this. It's more when if it's covered in water, you can't see the ruts. But adds to the fun though, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I guess some, We just, in the distance, I think we saw some soldiers there as well. What does it mean in terms of, for you, an opportunity for the public to bring them onto the grounds of where the Parachute Regiment and Airborne Forces train?
I think to actually come onto the ground where they train, where they actually carry out their fitness, their fitness assessments, and it's build up for operations fitness-wise. It's great for them to get on here and challenge themselves, because this is what obviously a lot of the Paras train on. Like I said, to get themselves fit, ready for operations.
Yeah. And so this is actually MOD property then, is it?
Yeah, this is MOD, yeah.
So what are the specific terrain challenges participants should prepare for?
Like I say, I think they just need to be prepared.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes you get a bit of false sense at the start, because it's probably the first 800-900 metres or K or so is on hard ground.
Yes.
And I know you can feel it now while you're just walking here.
Yeah.
Imagine adding 35
Your heart rate's up,
adding 35 pounds to your back.
Yeah.
Plus, hopefully, a little bit more wetter. It soon saps the legs. There's going to be lots of mud, obviously water. And again, it's just about understanding that you're not going to be able to go flat out the whole way around, and obviously making sure you've got the right equipment. Definitely, if you're tabbing, need boots 100%, which we stipulate.
Yeah, I've got the Pilgrims.
Yeah, boots with ankle support, trousers, and obviously your Bergen weighing 35 pounds. Your Bergen's got, obviously, when you finish, still weigh the same.
It gets weighed. It gets weighed at the start and at the end. But people carry, obviously, before the start, it can be heavier if you're taking a snack or frankly, whether it's up to each individual whether they feel they need a snack for a 10 miler. But you're definitely going to need water. Although from memory, there are water points as well, aren't there?
There's a water point at the 3 mile point. So when if you're doing 2-3 loops, you'll be able to get a drink as you come past just before the start-finish line. Before you sort of obviously keeping rehydrated.
Yes.
It's also making sure you've got the salts in you as well, the electrolytes.
Yeah, 100%. How much water would you say for this distance?
With obviously the water stops,
Yeah.
I would say a litre or so, just a little bit in there that you can sip on just to keep the mouth wet. Because sometimes you've also got to be cautious of overhydrating, drinking too much water, and like I said, and flush the salts out of your body. But each individual will know their like what they require. So we're still on the hollow square here. This is where obviously you come across, and this is the sort of back leg of the actual square.
Right. And am I right to say the route this year is different from last year? Yeah.
I just thought, I had a chat with the team, and I just said, look, we've got the options here in the woods to mix it up, try and keep it a bit of a surprise, obviously, as long as you don't reveal too much. Change the route slightly, and just mix it up so it keeps people guessing. The next.
In terms of timing, is there a cut-off where if people aren't back at a certain point, people want to go home? Yeah.
There is a cut-off. However, I don't want to say we're over relaxed on it. But if somebody is really struggling, and we might ask them to say, look, well done, let's call it a day. If somebody's going and they're just obviously a little bit slower than everybody else and they're looking good, fine, keep going. We're not just going to stop people and go, bang, stop. But genuinely, everybody gets round and it's fun, because that's the idea as well. There's people that enter the race who want to do really well and get good times. There's also people that are doing it for a challenge. And you don't want to just be saying, you're running too slow, let's stop.
Yes.
So we'll just let them go, as long as they're in good order. And
in terms of preparation, what sort of prep would you recommend, Mark?
It depends. If you're running this, if we talk about this one, I would say if you're running it and it's your first time, I would definitely get yourself out onto a bit of grass into the woods, get used to that, because it does, when you are running on cross country, your hips are moving differently. Even now I do cross country events and I finish and I'm like, my wife's going, why are you walking like that? The next day after twisting, moving. So it's just getting your body used to it. And like I say, just get on here and just nice and steady, nothing horrendous, and then just start building up the distance. Same with the tabbing really. If you've never tabbed before, start off a little bit of a lesser weight, lower distance, and build up either as you feel comfortable. Start increasing the distance or increasing the weight and keeping the distance. There's targets out there. Somebody wants it just as an achievement. It's a great achievement getting around here with 35 pounds. 3 loops.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a fantastic event. I think what distinguishes it from other military themed events, there's a few companies that do stuff in Wales, like a fan dance and other stuff, and then obviously you get lots of elevation. I think what's fun about the Paras 10 is it's fast and furious. It's not a huge distance, so it depends on your fitness level, so it means you can really get that pace up. There's not a lot of elevation and you do get a lot of mud, so I think it's great.
So this is the end of the hollow square, and then we start heading down the hill, which is known as Pylon Hill. This is a chance to get a break. To
do some recovery.
Decent recovery. Little shuffle if you're tabbing down the hill. Just get yourself a few places, bit of speed up, but obviously trying to recover as well.
What is one of the main things that you hope people take away from an experience like this?
It's really interesting because I go off park running and I've done a few little shout outs about the Paras 10, but one of the key things that people said to me after is, obviously we've got on there on the Roman Rampage logo, mud, blood, sweat and tears, and people said you want to add fun on that as well. And I was like, yeah, brilliant. That's really good that people come back and said, not only did we get muddy, and I scraped my leg and covered in blood, and I felt like crying, and it was fun.
It really is.
And I think that's it. The whole sort of ethos of the race is, even if you're on lap 3 right when you're passing somebody on lap 2, is just give out that little bit of shout out, that bit of encouragement. And a little bit of encouragement to anybody, as we all know, especially if you do a bit of fitness, you do these sort of events, a bit of encouragement goes, it gives you an extra 5 seconds.
Exactly.
So that's what it's all about. And of course people come here and rightly so come to win it, but it's just being courteous and having fun and everybody enjoying it.
No, absolutely, it is definitely one of my favourite events. But I remember this is a great bit for getting some pace on.
So we head right here, and typically known as, funny enough, Pylon Hill.
Right, got it,
and obviously self-explanatory.
Yeah.
This is what I call the fun part of the course.
Yes. Yeah, we're getting there.
That's your racing part.
Yeah.
That's where you make your places up.
Yeah.
This is where you then start having
And to be
fun.
fair, this bit you can still get some pace on here until you get down there where it's going to get wetter. And one of the things also as a participant, and what's also nice is at the end you get given your medal, typically by an airborne veteran. On both occasions that happened to me, which was great. A great opportunity to meet those veterans, thank them for their service if you're so inclined, and then you get the tea. So I think the whole experience was really is fun.
So that's what we aim to get again this year, airborne veterans. But obviously, if the cart attend, we'll have people there. I'm hoping to get, I think the RSM 3 Para is volunteering to come down and give us a hand, because I think I know his wife is tabbing it. Yeah, he's hopefully going to come down as well, which is good. Like you say, it's good. But there'll be plenty of people there with a bit of history giving out medals, whether it's the CEO who done the same amount of time as me, 30 odd years in the army. Yeah, there's plenty of people. This is a good part when it's wet. And again, just because I'm not sadistic, but I will make sure that all the channels straight into the mud, and make sure you go through the water. You can't go left and right. Take the easy option. Because it's not about that, it's about testing yourself.
There's a bit of route selection, and even though you're funneled into the water, it is, if you see somebody go down, that's a bit I'm going to avoid. There is a little bit of room for...
Yeah, there is. I agree. It's amazing how much this has dried out. I can't remember, what, 3, 4, 5 days maybe of no rain. But if you came down here the other week, you'd have been like that. Mark, this is impassable. You can see how much mud there is.
Yes.
But, yes, obviously. So for a runner, I recommend trail shoes.
Yes.
It's not really suitable for spikes.
Yeah.
For like this, because I know there'll be a few serious runners, but trail shoes are probably the best option.
Yes. And if you are doing load bearing, then you need the ankle, the boots for that.
100%, you need boots that will protect your ankles, long trousers, because again, it's the soldiers. When they tab, their boots, long trousers.
Yeah. So if you show up without those things, then you will be unable to make sure you bring it. Basically, that's not a recommendation; it's a must-have.
100%, because obviously, tabbing is with that extra weight, rolling your ankle. You do need that protection.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at this point down here, we're going now left towards the swamps.
Fantastic. Now the event is inspired by a 10-miler as part of P Company. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so P Company is a test that the Parachute Regiment do towards the back end of their training.
Yeah.
And the reason for it is it's purely there to obviously set men apart. Anybody can join the depot on day one. Anybody can be enthusiastic, anybody can be self-motivated, but P Company is really a test of self-motivation, discipline, fitness, enthusiasm, because that's exactly why it's there. It's to test you right to your limits, your mental. You're going to be tired, you're going to be exhausted, and when you think you're going to get a rest, there's another event, and that's what it's all about. It's all about mental robustness as well. Yes. And that's what sets people apart, because with the Parachute Regiment, we work alone a lot of the time. Our operational role is you're the first in, so you're on your own. And you need that. You need soldiers with mental resilience, initiative, all them buzzwords, but also you need them a level of fitness and be able to just keep going, because it could be 72 hours longer without any sort of water resupply, food, so they're carrying all their equipment.
Yeah.
So that's why it sets us apart. And also you need to be robust to jump out of an aeroplane, because that is so draining.
Yes.
Yeah, you've sat in an aeroplane for so long, REF, getting the low level flying in, takes it out of you, and it actually is physically draining. So it's hot. Yeah. You've got what I call a PLP, a life vest on. That's obviously protecting you. You're hot. It smells of aviation fuel. Yes. So it does take a mental drain on you.
I can imagine. Yeah. And then this specifically, the 10-miler.
Yep. Yeah. So the 10-miler is, obviously, if we go into battle, parachute into battle, obviously you've got to be a certain distance away without compromising your aircraft or whatever, compromising yourself. You drop yourself 10 miles away, 6 miles away, but you go for 10 miles, because say, let's go worst case scenario. And then when they hit the ground, it is fast and furious. It's the 1 hour 50, get as fast as you can and close with the enemy, clear an airfield, for example, and then that allows then the rest of the forces to come in. Yeah.
Because that is the thing that we don't realise. Yeah. After this 10 miler, you get a medal. Obviously an airborne soldier, that's when the scrap starts.
Yeah, it does, yeah. And obviously at the end of it, you need to be able to fight.
Yes.
The soldiers need to be able to carry on, hence P Company is not just one event.
No.
It keeps going and going, just to make sure that once you've done your 10 mile on P Company, you can still do your other events, because it does roll on, because towards the back end of P Company, you have the stretcher race,
Yes.
so you've simulated the 10 miler, and at the back end you've got a stretch race, so you've done all these other events, you then need to be able to extract casualties
Yes.
and still be in good order. To simulate, you've gone through to the battle, and then obviously you need to start extracting casualties.
And then there's a longer one. What's the longest distance?
God, they have the endurance, which has changed over the years.
Okay.
When I did it, I think it was about 8 miles, then the 12 miles.
Oh,
So you did an 8 mile, had a break, and then carried on with another 12.
Yeah.
Which I might even be lying, I'm not sure, but it felt like it at that point.
So is it then the milling? Is that then the simulation of the actual fight then?
The milling is about controlled aggression.
Right,
It's about being able to stand there toe to toe with a friend, and straight punches, no boxing, punch for a minute, and when you're told to stop, you can stop instantly. When you're told to carry on, you can carry on. It's just about controlled aggression, because last thing you need is somebody who's not going to stop, or somebody who's not prepared to do that. So that's purely what the mill is there for, to be able to measure their controlled aggression and make sure that they've got that sort of fighting spirit within them. I think the good thing about doing it whilst you recruit at the Parachute Regiment is the day you start the training, the depot, your fitness is a build up to P Company, and you've probably done it 3 or 4 times before you actually get there, without you knowing. But then they put all the events together, which you've done past, and then obviously psychologically it can be too much for some people. Other people may go into, I've done this already, this is, I won't say a breeze, but I'm ready for it.
Yes, and of course not only the Parachute Regiment, all airborne forces, whether they're the combat engineers, or artillery, or all the other groups that have the airborne wings. 16th Air Assault Brigade away in the camp, they do a pre-course here to select them down, because obviously you might have hundreds of people attending. Your company staff can't manage 100, so they do so many people here, whittle them down, and then send them to Catterick, where they do another further little bit of a beat up, and then they go into test week. And sometimes the test weeks can be mixed. You could have the all arms and the recruits at the same time. So that's another thing. If, say, an officer comes from Sandhurst, they are trying to get the maroon beret likewise. They'll do the whole lot.
They'll do exactly the same. Do P Company.
Excellent. So that standard is then for, if you ever see anyone, regardless of the cap badge, with that maroon beret from the British Army, they would have passed.
Not necessarily the maroon beret. The maroon beret represents airborne forces, but it's people with the wings.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so when they've got wings on their shirts, that means they've passed P Company and parachute trained.
Oh, is that right? Anyone with wings on? I didn't know. A lot of the people that are attached to the regiment, obviously because it's an air assault brigade, they wear the maroon beret as well, obviously just to make sure they're all inclusive and fit in. Yes.
I joined the Parachute Regiment in December '89. Luckily I got there and they sent us straight on leave, so that was quite nice. Home for Christmas. Really started the training in January and finished August 90.
And do you remember what you personally thought was the toughest event on P Company?
Yeah, for me, because I was only 17, 8 stone, a bit like I am now.
Yeah.
I found the endurance quite hard because I was very fit. I was cross-country runner, athletics, everything before I joined the army, so the sort of speed events I was fine. And then I started, obviously as I went through the training, adding the weight, I soon came around to it, managed it. But I think for me the hardest events were the endurance. We've only been like 5'7", 8 stone and carrying 35 pounds.
Yes.
It's for me.
Plus your food, plus your water. Yeah.
We might get wet feet here.
Yes, I remember this little bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was dubbed the swamps of Sierra Leone.
Yes, it was, yeah. And again, it's just to simulate the ground that the paratroopers operate in.
Yes.
So I came last week, this was completely flowing through here.
Yes.
So we're going to get wet feet now. So this bit here was completely up to knee deep in water the whole way around. But to be quite honest, it looks quite daunting, that water.
Yeah.
But this is harder because when the water's there, I don't know how to explain it. It's not as soggy, as wet, clayy.
Yeah.
You can feel now already how much hard work this is on the legs.
Yes. When it gets wet, there's two sort of schools of thought. So I'm actually wearing non-Gore-Tex Pilgrims at the moment, because what I like about them, I'm going to get wet anyway, and at least the water can flow back out. Yeah. I just find for wet, and if I don't have to be in them for 3 days on end, I quite like the non-Gore-Tex ones, and most people will, if it's wet, they will just use the Gore-Tex. Do you have any sort of preference in terms of boot choice?
For this, I would definitely 100% wear non-Gore-Tex.
Right.
If you've got non-Gore-Tex, wear it.
Yeah.
Gore-Tex depends, may hold it in, and then if you're doing 3 laps, you've got 3 laps with boots full of water.
But that's not to say that if you sign up for this event, there's any problem at all.
Oh, no.
Most of the field will be, Gore-Tex is so standard now. And also, buying boots in the UK, 90% of the time, Gore-Tex is the way to go.
Like now, we've just come through there,
yeah.
and my ankles, if you've got quite a high leg boot, if it stays like this, you might be okay, but a bit further down, you might struggle.
Yeah. Yes.
There's nowhere to go apart from round here, so it's a bit of a pathfinder's choice, really. Pick your route and make your way through it. There will be the odd marker in here, so it'll literally just be through here, find your best route through it. And no doubt, if you're on like the 3 loops, you may vary, because you'll go, that was a bit hard, I might move up there, or I might move here. But again, it's for 1 loop, just go for it straight through.
Yes, yes. You talked about how when you first started at 17, you'd come from a background of cross-country running, and you were an athletic youth to start with.
Yeah.
Now that you've come to the other end of your service, how has your fitness evolved in terms of the way that you train, or the way that fitness plays in your approach to life?
Yeah, so I rejoined an athletics club when I left.
Yeah.
So I'm now back in an athletics club, the Colchester and Pendulum Athletics Club, which do track sessions, they have athletics meets, cross country, always 10 park runs with them. And it's just, for me, it was about just keeping moving.
Yes.
I've got a 11-year-old son who's always telling me that I run too slow for him. So I think it's just about keeping going.
Yeah.
The club that I'm at has got a great sort of ethos. Don't matter how fast you are, don't matter how slow you are, there's always somebody there that'll run with you.
Yeah.
So it's good. I think it's about just keeping going.
Yes.
But I stayed away from the tabbing now though, after 35 years of it.
Right, yeah.
And I just stick to the running. But cross country is always my favourite. I don't know why. I think it's because I am that little bit slower, but I've still got the strength, so I can just plod along a little bit.
Yeah.
So this is what we call take a break. I think a lot of people got this sort of misconception last year that when they said take a break, they were going to get like a Kit Kat or something, or a drink of water down here.
Yeah.
Literally, that was me saying, get your breath back, because the worst's yet to come. Even after that, this is why we called it take a break. This is an opportunity, again, if you're running, tabbing, whatever, get your breath back, because your legs will be burning after running through that. And then obviously at the end of this road, or this path, you then start heading back towards the green zone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Stuart, the marshals. And I got lots of positive, because I have a little Facebook group with people who do these events, and I think it was appreciated. It was a bit of fun.
100%. Yeah. My wife did it, and she succumbed to it, and she said it was brilliant. He was saying to her things like, come on, get running. Oh, sorry, you are.
Yeah.
Giving people it's good, a good harmless banter.
He goes, a selfie stick? Like, you've got to be, because I was running around with this thing. He goes, you're running with a selfie stick. But what was also great is the encouragement, like, overtake that next man, right?
Yeah,
Someone in front of me. It's don't just be content with plodding along at the same pace as the person in front of you.
Yeah, it's good. There was lots of people that I was chatting to at the finish last year who had actually, whilst running, had met up with people and then ran with them.
Yeah,
and then chatting and just getting each other around the course. Never met before.
Yeah.
Just met on the run, chatting, and then gone on to be friends after. Yeah, the one I ran in 21 when I was still serving, gosh, it was the wettest that I'd ever experienced. It
wasn't the one I did then.
No,
I must have done the year after. Yeah.
I was stood there. I probably look, if you look on the Instagram on the Paras10, I look pretty miserable in the picture, because there's a picture of me then in uniform versus a picture of me doing a park run, and I was just stood there miserable.
Yeah, park run is great, aren't they? It's because I do park runs, and it's a foolproof way, regardless of how you're feeling or what your weight is. I always find when I'm heavier, my park run times obviously goes down. But it's like a litmus test where you can't cheat, as in, you know where you're at. If you come back from holiday or something, you do a park run, you know where you're at.
Yeah.
I'm never fast. I've never even been sub 20, but on a if I'm at the fitness level that I like, then I can get consistently sub 25.
Yeah,
and that's when I'm satisfied.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Now, you with your athletics, are you a fast runner? What sort of part run
No,
times?
I'm 22, between 22 and 24. I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Sub 25, I'm already happy, and I have to really fight to even get there. They're great though, aren't they? They're a real big part of my fitness journey as well, because anyone who does it for the first time is shocked at how slow they are.
Yeah.
But then anyone who's able-bodied, regardless of your age, within sort of 6 months of training can at least get sub half an hour.
100%. And do you know what I like about the park run? No one cares what time you do, and everybody's encouraging
unless you do, but that's your decision, because I care, but that's me.
Yeah, 100%. So break over.
Yeah, there's no avoiding the wet here.
Yeah.
And for people who did last year, we're now doing bits that are a bit different.
Yeah, so around, you can see the sort of natural path around here. Bit tighter to the fence line. You'll see the path there, that goes round. So the markers will be out round there. And I know it doesn't look much, but when you hit this hill, your legs are tired.
Yes.
Going up this hill. But last time you went down, round the copse to the pylon.
Yes.
And then you went straight down to the hill, straight down the hill, along the bottom. This year it'll be straight over the top. So it'll be straight down this field.
It is, it's a lot of fun, the route.
Yeah.
That gives a nice bit of up and down.
It does, yeah, it does. And it's got everything, a bit of hills, mud, water, hard standing, concrete.
Yeah.
You'll then be going in what we call the green zone.
Yeah. A lot of the people watching my channel are 40s, 50s, 60s and beyond. It's probably because I'm an old guy myself. But what is your advice in terms of people in those who, like us, in that age bracket, in terms of keeping fit and preparing for events like this?
Well, as I say, it's about just keeping moving. But again, I think some depends on their level of fitness already.
Yeah.
I think not only are we potentially not as we're not as fast as like a 21-year-old.
Yeah.
But I think we have that mental stamina as well.
Yes.
We have that. I would class myself more as a plodder.
Yes.
But I think again, it's just that bit of mental resilience. Just keep going and just keep plodding. Keep doing. Just get out there, do something.
Yeah.
Because we always say that any form of fitness is better than nothing.
Yes.
So yeah, you just got to keep going and get out there, do something, and no one cares how fast you are, how slow you are at our age. You probably get more encouragement because you're out there.
Yeah.
Adults go that way, the kids will come down here. So I remember last year, this is where we split it.
Yeah.
We give you the option to go left or right.
I mixed it up. Some laps I went left, some laps I went right.
I mean, a lot of people went for the right, but the left, when it was wet, I found was a little bit harder.
Okay.
Because it's a little bit hidden. As in ruts and holes and whereas everybody can see. So obviously straight through here on the left there's a few logs and stuff that need moving out. We'll have to come down and move these logs out. And then there you can see the river, the Roman River, how it's just over there by the broken tree.
Yes.
So they come round here. This was quite tricky when it was underwater because people were coming close here, didn't see the slope, slipping. So that's a bit of a you're going to get wet.
Yeah.
And then directed straight through here. You'll be guided straight through that, so you go through.
So Mike, you've been a member of the Airborne Community, as you said, well over 30 years, joining up as an enlisted soldier and then all the way through to the rest of your career, at your officer route and everything. And now, of course, you've transitioned into the Support of Paras charity. What do you think has kept you connected to that community?
I think, like I say, after 35 years, I presume transition from the army is I say I presume, is really difficult.
Right.
And why I presume is because I've moved into this job.
Yes.
I'm still in camp.
Yeah.
I still see the soldiers that I was in command of.
Yeah.
I still chat to them on a daily basis. And I still go home and talk to my wife like I'm still in the army.
Yeah.
Which she was like, kind of reminds me, you're not in the army anymore. So I think it's just, I think I've had an easy transition.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if I've fully transitioned because I've not just literally left this environment, I'm still working in it. But it's been good, I'm out now, I'm civilian. Can walk around camp now with my hands in my pockets on my phone. No one's going to say anything. It's been good, I've enjoyed it, I'm still in the mix, still see people, still sort of got that sort of vibe, so about the military. So again, straight through here, obviously that'll be moved out on the day. I think the key thing is 80%, 90% of the charity, people that work for the charity, have links to the military.
Right.
So we understand the issues that soldiers, veterans, families are going through.
Yes.
Obviously we have a welfare department who are second to none. They understand everything, they're very responsive, very quick, can react quicker than lots of other organisations. Because we're pretty unique actually as a charity. Because we like to say we're solely there to support the Parachute Regiment.
Yes.
And Airborne Forces, veterans, families. So
yes,
we're pretty unique. We can respond quite quickly to anything. A bit like what we call the sort of reserve parachute.
Right, yes,
So,
yes,
yeah,
like
so-
I got you.
Yeah. So this is what we called the pain train last time.
Yes.
And the reason we call it a pain train is it doesn't look much, but you're bushed.
Yes,
And you're finishing
it's
on the
uphill.
hill.
Yeah.
So I called it the pain train. And as you can tell now, I'm out of breath.
Yeah,
and
we're
just
definitely
walking
feeling
around.
it, yeah.
So the kids race will continue on the pain train.
Yeah.
However, what I did change this time is the adults race is now going to go right.
Yeah.
So you don't go up there.
Ah.
Adults will now go this way.
Because we've got a bit of distance to make up, don't we? 'Cause
Exactly, we've
off a
missed
bit,
that. Yes.
Yeah, by the complete sidestep, you talked about reserve. The other day I was studying up a bit about the Second World War Airborne, and they didn't have a reserve. You realise, like when they jumped, that was incredible to read that no reserve shoots.
Yeah.
On top of everything else, jumping into an actual theatre of war, there wasn't really the resources to give everyone 2 shoots. But anyway.
Well, I suppose back in them days as well, though, that once they've landed, that parachute's gone.
Yeah.
They're gone.
Yeah.
Like you say, they don't have the reserves to just keep giving reserves because they just get left on the ground.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
So this is a mended part of the route. Still call it the pain train, slightly different. Oh, it is all right.
This is great.
Yeah, so like I said, this hasn't been wrecked, so if I start swimming...
So not meaning to scare anyone off, but get ready.
This is looking favourable.
Mate, this is fun, yeah. So this may or may not be part of the event. Woo! That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely feels a bit tougher than last year in terms of the up and down, the elevation.
Yeah, 100%. And like I say, this is a really good day to come and do it. Have a walk round. But all it would take is 1 or 2 days of rain, and you see now this is dry.
Wow.
Oh, it's not rained here for 4 or 5 days, and this is still muddy. I've just washed my shoes down there. Yep, left here. So you can see there, we've literally just done a big loop round.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's, I think it's about 3.2 miles.
Yeah.
I tried to get it as close to 10 as we can with the 3 laps. But I think one of the key things is to take away from this, if it's wet,
Yes.
you can add easy 30-40% of hardness to the event.
So don't get too hung up on a target, I think is the thing.
So the kids will come up straight up like we did or the adults did last year. This year you'll come straight through here, round here, back onto the finish. And then, like I say, finish just up here in this area here.
Yeah. Fantastic.
This event will only survive if people enter. And like I say, it's not to put money into the event owners' pockets, to go straight back into a charity. So obviously the more people that enter, because we obviously have our costs. We pay for the land, to run on the land, we've got to pay for other amenities. So yeah, the more people that enter is the more that money actually goes back into the charity. No one's making profit out of this other than a charity. Charity benefits. Yeah, but again, it's fun.
I think that's a great message. Anyone watching, almost regardless of fitness level, because you can do 1, 2 or 3 laps. Even if you feel you're not ready for the full thing, come and do 2 laps or 1 lap. Also because the cutoff is such that anyone doing 1 or 2 laps can get round. And you're putting that entry fee into the charity. And if you want, you can obviously fundraise as well. So there are still places available.
There's no limit on places.
Brilliant.
You can enter on the day. But there was a chap last year that did 1 lap And then came round to us and asked if he could do a second lap. He said, I'll make up the difference from
Yeah.
the 1 loop to the 2 loop. So he made an actual bigger donation.
Fantastic.
And then
yeah.
went round again. But like you say, I think that highlights the point of it was fun and he
Yes.
wanted to go again.
Yeah, mate, that is absolutely fantastic. Also, a message to the viewers, even those that are maybe watching from abroad or unable to enter, there will be a link to the website. The only link you'll find in the description is for the support our paras. And any sort of ad revenue from YouTube will be going to the charity as well, both for these videos as well as the video on the day. So by all means, either enter if you can, or check out the website, the link in the description, to see how else you can support the charity. Normally I say see you in the hills, but today, see you at Paras 10.
See you in 2 weeks. Make sure you come prepared, and most of all, make sure you enjoy it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks for that, mate.